I had to go to work today on my day off. I went to tryouts, BKFC tryouts. So I have to work on my days off to make up for the days I took off, right? So sorry I'm late. I didn't even have time to put my eye makeup on. Just got my lips on, little mascara, foundation, done. Took a shower real quick just so that I could be here with you guys tonight. Ooh, running behind on everything but making things happen. So that feels good. Today, what I'm going to talk about, instead of going into the diet, because of what's going, which I was going to talk about, is going into the diet, right? Going into the vitamins and things of that sort. Because of what's going on with the hurricanes and the expected hurricane that's coming on Thursday, I want to give some heads up on hygiene, with some basic things that we're not used to. You know, everybody knows that if there's a disaster or serious circumstances of any kind, and when we run out of products to clean ourselves with, to maintain cleanliness, the death comes from illnesses, right? Illnesses. We get cut, then we get infection, and then we get very sick and die. We don't know how. We can't wash our hands. We can't wash whatever things that we have around us. I want to show how to do that with nature, right? I want to show you how to what I do, what I've done, what I've lived and experienced with nature. And then a couple of things you want to put in a plastic container with the lid so that it can survive the disaster or the situation and circumstance. You can open up that plastic container like a bucket with a lid, and then you got your valuables in there. When I say valuables, some things that people don't see around their house is valuable. I'm gonna show you why it's so valuable, because it's gonna keep us alive and keep us healthy. And the things that I use on a regular basis in my household, to take care of my home, to take care of my children. And if there's a disaster, for me, it's the same routine. But for people who don't know, I'm gonna share that with you today. Okay. How to stay clean in disastrous moments, right? Circumstances and situations. I'm trying to find words to encompass a whole lot of things that the world's facing right now. People are facing from one day to the next, and they don't got time to research and figure out what to do. So that's what I'm going to show. From a toilet called a dry toilet, called humanure. This really works. I was a president in Mexico. Well, I ran for president of my town, meaning mayor of my town in Mexico, and this was part of my campaign. I showed people how to upgrade in their toiletries instead of having to go outside in the middle of the night to use restroom in a hole dug in the back, and that's some real shit. You know, that's it's a real reality for a lot of people in the world. I showed them how I make a dry toilet. You can have it indoors, and there's no smell, and it's the cleanest thing we have when it comes to this kind of sanitation for toiletry. I don't know what else to call it, right? For our sewage, how do we deal with our sewage? Because that's a huge problem. And I'll show you how to make a dry toilet. I'm going to show you guys how to take wood ash. I'll break all these things down, step by step, and give you guys some direction. How to take ash that comes from hardwood, like mesquite wood, pecan wood, wood that doesn't have a lot of oil resin like pine. It's called a softwood, right? You get what it's called potassium hydroxide naturally out of this, and this is how they used to make soap back in the old days. When I say old days, I mean like ancient times. They used to mix it, water it down, and then bring down the water and get it to where when you mix it with oil or lard or fat, you turn it into soap. So it's old school soap, right? So, but instead of making soap, I'm going to show you guys how you just make a solution to clean up your hair, your body, your tabletops. I'm trying to figure out what it's called when you have, after a disaster, what the fuck you got left. Well, you got to clean up your surrounding area, right? So I'm going to show you how to make a spray to clean up your surrounding area, and how to use the ash that's left over, that's wet, like paste to clean up your dishes and your pots and pans. I did all these things that I'm telling you about. I've lived. I know they work. Excuse me. I know they work. I did it for a year to make sure this shit works for real and I ain't gonna have no problems. Because I was born to survive. You know that when I was a kid, I was 16 years old. I sensed that I was born to be a survivor. Survivor of what? I didn't know back then, right? Now I know all the shit I had to learn to survive. And I'm going to show you guys right now. I haven't had something to drink all day. Ridiculous. Literally, I just woke up, called work, said, hey, you guys got any extra work? They're like, yeah, you got to be here in 45 minutes. I'm like, out. Boom. I didn't put no makeup on, nothing. I didn't even brush my hair. I was just like, I was really just out the door. Coming back, I had to hurry up, make some food, and here I am right now. Hey, hi, Missy Murad. I hope I said that right. Hi, Murad. I'm also going to show you guys for this technology that falls from the sky, this nanotech, and we get these, they call them floaters in the eyes, and we're having a hard time with their vision. I'm going to show you what I do with these little, these are for when you go into, what is it called, tanning booths, right? These are really cheap, really inexpensive. But I'm going to show you a little water and sea salt solution, how you clean up your eyeballs. Woo! You can actually see this shit fall back into the water. You clean it out, you do it again. It's clear water, you do it, and you can see all the little particles that come out your eyeballs. And you get your vision nice and clear. The other floaters go away. All right, where am I going to start? Time to make a list right here. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and send me something, right? Send me something, and it makes it easier for me to come up with shit that you might not know that I think and I assume everybody knows, right? Let's do the potassium hydroxide, right? So instead of worrying about what's in it, which you can go and look up what's inside of wood ash. In Mexico, I get this for free. And here in the United States, you gotta pay like $25 for, I think it's about 2 pounds for a kilo. That's really fucking expensive. But if you're in a survival situation and you gotta burn wood anyways, don't throw out your ashes because you're gonna save them. Let them get nice and cool. And this is what we're gonna do with them. I usually get a 5 pound, listen to me, 5-gallon bucket. You fill the bottom of the 5-gallon bucket like an inch worth on the bottom of wood ash. You fill the rest with water. You mix really well. You put the lid on it. You let it sit. You come back the next day because you have to wait for all of that ash to sit and settle and for all of that potassium hydroxide to filter through the water. That new solution that you have the next day, remember, you're not boiling nothing, you're not doing nothing special. Fill the bottom for about an inch, cover the bottom of whatever container you have, fill the rest of the container with water, mix really well, let it sit, back in 24 hours. Comes out to be a yellowish type of color of a solution, transparent with a tinge of yellow, right? And what it does is it eats up oil. It eats up the oil. So when you get a rag, and you wet your rag and you drain your rag and say you have a dirty body and your body's all dirty and you want to clean up because you're in Florida and you have no more water, no more access to water, but you want to clean up, but you have some wood ash and you got some river water down there, right? You make this solution. You get your rag and you're able to wipe off all the dirt and oil that's on the body. Then you can get water, rinse off your body, and this is how you end up cleaning up. That same water you put into a glass and you pour it into your on top of your cranium, right? You put it on top of your cranium. The reason you put it on your cranium, your crown, because this is where all the dirt and the oil's at. This is not what you're worried about. You're worried about right here. So you go back, you get this all cleaned up, then you get some more of that clean water and you put clean water on top and you will have fresh, clean hair. I did that for 1 year. I put it in a special little bottle to make it easy to get all around in my shower, to test it to see if this shit is functional and is it viable? Is it something I can actually live with? And it is. It really is. So across the street in Mexico, in San Luis Potosí, in our little town of Venado, Murad, what is the most famous food in Mexico? I'm gonna have to answer that as soon as I get done with this wood ash and showing people how to use it as a soap, as a cleaning supply, right? Natural cleaning supply. Across the street from where I lived, there was a panadero, right? That's somebody who makes bread, and he would use mesquite wood, which is a hardwood, and he'd just throw out the ash. I'd ask him what he does with the ash. He just throws it out. So I told him I'd buy it from him. He said no, he'd give it to me for free. I knew it was expensive. He didn't have any point of using it. As a matter of fact, they use this also for gardening because it helps certain plants, right? I'm not a specialist. I don't know about growing plants. I'm not good at it. But I do know that if you want to look down that avenue, wood ash for growing plants, right? Putting in the dirt for growing some plants. I'd get the wood ash, do the mixtures, and have these buckets ready with all the solution, and I'd clean my stainless steel refrigerator, I'd clean the stove, I'd take the ash that's left over on the bottom, because what you want to do, which I forgot this step to tell you, once it settles for those 24 hours, you want to separate real slowly, pour out all that solution into a new container, because on the bottom you have what's left of the residue, which is the ash, right? But you want to save that wet ash because you can wash your iron skillets. You'll see that you can wash your stainless steel skillets. And when I say it's kind of like an Ajax paste, like it's not Ajax, it's not paste, but I'm giving you an example of what it's like, right? So you end up getting some of this wet wood ash that's left over from the solution you made for your cleaning solution, and you start scrubbing your iron skillet, and you're like, mind is fucking blown on how it just takes off all the oil off the edges of the skillet. It's just amazing. And it's a natural scrubber, right? You don't even need a scrubber because it has its own little scrubbing power in the wood ash. Rinse your pots and pans, and bada bing, bada boom. Under natural disasters, wood ash is the way to go. I hope I explained that pretty well. Remember, when it comes to your full body, you don't want to sit in it in this solution. You don't want to do that. This stuff is strong and it's powerful. You can put your socks in it and scrub your socks in that solution. Put a pair of white socks that are dirty in that solution and watch them get washed up. You'll see what I'm talking about, how it cleans. And then you take that sock and then you got to put it in a clean water to rinse it off. Because remember, there's still ash floating around, ash particles in your solution. So you don't want to sit in the water, but you want to be able to take some of that water, be it on a rag, put it on your skin, wipe it off, rinse it off afterwards, and you get the concept of how this works. It really does work very well. And it's how the Aztecs used to wash their hair and have beautiful hair at the end of it. So it has a much deeper, longer story. The story of the Aztecs, how they came up with making soap when wood ash got connected with fat from cooking. The hair being washed in the river, and then mixing with fats, and then boom, bada bing, bada boom, you get soap. It solidifies and becomes soap. For those of you who know what soap is made out of, it is made out of sodium hydroxide, which is different than natural potassium hydroxide. If you have sodium hydroxide, I don't want to complicate things, but that shit is so dangerous and so concentrated that if you get that on your skin, it goes up to 200 degrees and burn a hole right through you. Eat the fat right off your skin. So don't fuck with sodium hydroxide. This is a light form of natural potassium hydroxide mixed with water, right? I'm looking for something. I'm sorry that here it is. Excuse me one moment. So I did an ear cleaning last night, that has just drained everything out of my ears, my nose cavity. Shit, I felt canals running through the back of my head I didn't even know I had, but I can feel them being cleared out with a solution I'm gonna also talk to you guys about. As far as you're keeping up clean your ears, your nose, and your throat, because this is where virus starts accumulating, and this is where we get sick, and then we depend on the doctor to fix it instead of just cleaning it ourselves before that shit gets out of hand. I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. Do you know Survivor? Yeah, I know the movie Survivor, but I've been surviving since I was a little kid, 16 years old. I knew I was gonna grow up to be a survivor. It's just an instinct that I had, right? An intuition. And but I didn't recognize all the kind of shit I had to survive. But a lot of us are survivors, right? Survivors of a lot of things. I just was taking a lot of fucking notes. That's all. I'm so thirsty. I'm sorry. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry, and I'm fucking tired. I had a great time, anyways. By the way of my BKFC tryouts, they were fantastic. I really had a fun time. Hopefully I get a fight out of that. Nobody got told if they passed or didn't pass, accepted, not accepted. We were all told that we'd get a call of some kind of information, and so yet to see, right? Yet to see. The only thing different now is BKFC knows now that I'm fighting for a cause, because this is the last shot of freedom. This is it. I got to get that stage, grab that microphone, and we need to make some fucking adjustments, because Canaanites are running the world and ain't no fucking body paying attention to what's going on. It's this guy, that guy, it's no guy, it's here, it's there, it's nowhere. No, I'm gonna show you where the fuck it's at. And we need to move these fuckers out legally for treason, and we're fucking done. And then we implement what we, mankind, know is good for ourselves. We know. Excuse me. My nose. I'm gonna show you guys what I made. It just clears everything out. It cleared everything out. Cleared things out more than I expected. I know it's gonna work. I didn't know it was gonna work that deep, right? That deep. Right now I'm drinking vitamin C, water, and stevia. Only stevia. I do have 2 other elements in here. I was thinking about, should I tell you, should I not tell you? I'm only not gonna tell you because I haven't researched any science on it, but I'm liking what I'm feeling. I'm liking what I've been seeing, and I've been doing it for a couple months now. But vitamin C, stevia, water, and 2 other ingredients that are yet to be announced. You guys know this one, right? Peroxide. Super fucking important. Super important. It's not just for cuts. Most of us just know, hey, gotta cut it. Oh, put some peroxide on. We got it cleaned up. Whew. This stuff will clean all the interior cavities between the ears, the nose, and the throat. Oh my gosh, I even went to the hospital when I was homeless in Scranton. I had cleaned out my ears with the peroxide, some water, right? And just in case, I also did sea salt and water to back it up, just in case, because I was homeless and I was fucking worried to get sick and be homeless. When I was homeless in Scranton, I was outside. There was no car. I was like on the fucking concrete for the first time in my life. It was the scariest shit I ever fucking went through, right? Because you don't know what it's like to sleep outside with a knife in your... I had to have a knife. If I didn't have a knife, I wasn't going to feel comfortable, right? There ain't nothing gonna fucking make you feel comfortable, but knife just made things better, so I had some kind of fucking fighting odds with whatever woke me up in the middle of the night. And that's the fear, is you're afraid that something's gonna happen to you and you can't sleep. It's so fucked up. I feel so bad for people who have to sleep outside. But it became so long and so exhausting that eventually, after a month, I didn't give a fuck. I just slept wherever I was, like on the fucking park bench, or like, I'm out, fucking peace out, because I was so fucking tired after working all day and having no fucking where to go. I just didn't care no more, and I would be able to pass out. But it took me a month of stress, of that kind of survival feeling, for my brain to finally get used to it and not give a fuck no more. I did still sleep with a knife, but it didn't. I was able to go to sleep after about a month. Murad, is it very popular? Let's see. Is it very popular in our Turkey? Is what very popular in your Turkey? And also in Turkey, I know you meant in. I'm thinking you're talking about Turkey, the country, right? To answer your other question, what is the most famous food in Mexico? That's a hard one. I would say mole. Mole is the most famous food in Mexico because if there's a party, there's mole, and there's always a party in Mexico. That means there's always mole in Mexico, and it's one of the hardest dishes to make. Um, nah, I would have should. I take that back. Tamales. Are, you know what? There's so many foods in Mexico that take a lot of energy and time to make. Um, but so I can't leave it at one. But if I had to, it's mole, right? Mole or tamales, right? Mole or tamales. And I'm not sure what is popular in Turkey. And I am assuming from what you're saying, you're from Turkey, right? I don't think you're talking about Turkey like the food. No, you're talking about fighting. So here's the thing: is if I'm talking about fighting, I answer you about fighting, but I'm not talking about fighting. I'm talking about trying to get people healthy and well under dire situations. So I can't answer you those questions. You can ask me after in the questions, and we can go through there, and I'll answer you back after the live video. Right after the live video, I want to stay focused with this information because I got less than an hour. I got 30 minutes to finish up, and I got some things I want to talk about. Pedro Gomez, how was your BKFC trials? It was fantastic, Pedro. It really was. I was just talking about them. I had a great time. I felt I passed everything they had us do. Again, I was the only female. There was no other female but myself. I have some posts on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook if you want to see them. But excuse me, I enjoyed it very, very much. When you take peroxide, I take a shot glass and then I fill that shot glass with water and I put about 5, 6 drops of peroxide. Pour it in my ear. And this is what I did last night. And this is also what I did when I was homeless in Scranton, right? I'm not sure. Give me 1 second, brother. I'm going to talk about this cleaning up the ear cavity and how it cleans up the nose cavity and then how we clean up the throat cavity, right? Give me 1 second. When you pour it on one side, when I poured it on one side, you can hear kss. Then I come over here and I poured it on the other side. You can hear kss, a little bubbling going on, and then you can feel it dripping on the back of your throat, and you spit that out, right? You definitely want to spit that out. You can feel it even in the back of your nose. So you can feel this liquid moving through these cavities because, like I said, this is where infection starts building up. And this is what we don't clean. We never clean it. We wait till it gets really bad and then we go to the hospital and then we get some type of medication for it. And what I'm saying is we clean it up as soon as we start feeling a scratchy throat. As soon as we start feeling something wrong with our ear, we start cleaning it up ASAP so nothing builds and ferments into an infection that gets out of hand. And we're not taught these things. We're not taught that that's what you're supposed to do is clean all these areas up, right? Because they're all connected. Give me 1 second. So when I was in the hotel day before yesterday on the 5th, after tryouts, the BKFC tryouts, I could feel between the hot and the cold from going in and out. The weather's warm, and then the hotel room and the convention center. Air conditioning really fucks me up really bad, right? Fucks up my throat. Woke up in the morning with a sore throat, got off the plane, came home, and I was like, oh, I gotta clean this shit up before it gets worse because I can't afford to get sick. But I could feel my throat tightening up because of the hot and cold extremes I was going in. So I did the peroxide with the water, right? And then when I tell you mucus will come out of cavities you didn't know you had, all night I was just like pushing out mucus and it was coming out my nose. I mean, who wants to hear this, right? But you need to know that this shit's normal. This is what's supposed to happen. It loosens up all the stuff stuck on the walls that ain't never gonna leave until something moves it out. And virus, bacteria, all these things and more lock themselves within, cover themselves, hide within mucus to stay stuck in the body, keeping the body sick until something goes in there and moves it out. And so it's just been draining out, and you could feel, like I was able to feel, a cavity of liquid coming from the back of my ear all the way up through my nose, but I'd never felt that before. I didn't know I had a cavity back there because I never felt it, right? But the way I was able to breathe afterwards, I was like, shit, I don't think I've ever had air go up there either. It's like I can breathe differently. That's how much shit we're locked up with that we don't know about. But all it takes is cleaning up the environment, right? All right, Pedro. So I don't know what you mean by was there too. There was just me. As far as females at BKFC, I was the only female trying out. The rest, everybody else, were men. When I went to the LA tryouts in January of 2024 of this year, again, I was the only female, and there were 74 males and just me. And I did fucking fantastic then. I did better in January than I did this one. Nobody knew that I hadn't been running for 6 months. Nobody knew in general, that I've been out for 6 months because of my shoulder injury. And so I hadn't been running. So I just started running 1.5 weeks right before tryouts, trying to get ready. But I didn't let anybody see or notice that I wasn't at my full potential, right? My full athletic potential. But I still kicked ass and looked pretty good. I still did pretty good. All right, so that's the peroxide. Get this and have a lot of it. They're really cheap. Get as many as you can. And then look up all the other things you can do with peroxide, right? I don't like using peroxide to brush my teeth on a regular because too much peroxide in the blood causes explosion, implosion. I don't know how to explain it, but it makes blood foam up. I saw the science on that shit. They put peroxide, when there's too much peroxide in the body, it's not good. So I just keep this for when I have to clean out my ear cavities and my nose cavity, right? I'll show you what I use for my throat cavity. Let's go right here for eyes and throat. This is what I use for eyes and throat. I get this sea salt. It's $2, $1.99 at Trader Joe's. You can go to an Indian market, find some inexpensive sea salt there. All the other regular supermarkets are ridiculously expensive. $10 for a tiny bit of sea salt. Something outrageous. But your sea salt should only be costing like $2 a pound or something like that, right? Or $2 for a kilo. Take a sea salt. Again, I put it in a small glass, little whiskey glass, because I want more water than in a shot glass. When I do the peroxide, I just want a shot glass size because I don't need that much water or peroxide for these small cavities. When it comes to my throat, I want to make sure that I'm getting a lot of gargling going on, at least 3 gargles. So I want a nice 8-ounce glass and put like a teaspoon of sea salt. When I say like a teaspoon, it's like a give and take. There's no exact amount. You don't have to worry about it. You don't want too little or too much. You want just enough, and a teaspoon per 8 ounces of water is just enough. You mix that up. You can heat the water because the more heat you have, the better it expands the throat if the throat is very tight. If the throat's tight, you want that water to be warm, right? You mix that up and you do 3 gargles, and what it does is it cleans up the area of the throat. Again, where bacteria, virus, all these things start building up and leak up into the nose, into the ears. When I say leak up, it's because it's all connected, right? So we want to make sure we're cleaning our ears and cleaning our throats as part of a one-time process. Because I did this after I did my ears with the peroxide, then I did the sea salt gargle, and then let me show you how to clean up your eyeballs. You clean up your eyeballs from what they call floaters, when you can see shit up on your eyes and you can't get that shit off, or we're having problems with their vision and we're only 20 years old. The 20-year-olds are having problems with their vision because of the blue light coming out of the screens, causing damage to the eyes, meaning it's artificial light. Natural light is what our eyes are made for, not hard artificial light. It literally taps and beats up on the eyeball. But apart from that, it's all the debris that we got in the atmosphere falling onto our eyes, and we can see like little squiggles. To get that shit out in that same glass of water that you did your 3 gargles, you usually have some water left over. You put some of that water in here, that water's cooled down. You want to make sure your water's nice and cool with the sea salt. It's the same solution, 8 ounces of water to a teaspoon of sea salt, right? You get that water all nice and mixed up with the sea salt. You pour it in the little cavities that they got right here, right? And then you go like this and you move your eyeballs around. You move them back and forth, up and down and all around. And you see little debris in there. You dump it out, you do it again. I do it about 3 times to make sure that I get everything off in every direction. Look at your water before you put your eyes in it so you can see that it has no film. As soon as you take them off, you see all kinds of little things floating in there. You see all kinds of film in there. You can do it with makeup or without makeup. I just get it done. Meaning, my eyes feel irritated. I'm not worried about do I have makeup on or do I not have makeup on. I go and clear up my eyeballs. And then I wash my face and I'm done, right? You can do it in any way you want. That's the only reason I'm saying it, is do it how you want. With or without makeup if you're a female. Alright, so that's for the eyeballs and the sea salt. Then we're going to go into the peroxide, not the peroxide, I'm sorry, baking soda. This is another thing you want to have in your emergency container. Things to have that are vital for health. Now, a lot of people know that you can brush your teeth with baking soda, right? And it keeps them nice and clean. And this is the route I go when it comes to brushing the teeth. I do not do the whole peroxide thing. If I were to do it, and when I did do it, it'd be like once in a month with the peroxide, because of you don't want too much peroxide in the blood, and doing that shit every day. It's why they put it in our food system. It's why it's on the shelves in the market, you know, and we don't pay attention that Canaanites are running our show, and so what's not good for us is fucking everywhere and promoted to us to do on a regular basis. Look up experimental peroxide in cow's blood. You see what happens. You see what I'm talking about. Those people who self-combust and they don't know how they fucking blew up from the inside out, they have excessive peroxide in their body. That's what they come to find out. Wow, you really want to know that question, huh? I'm so busy in my life, I don't care. That's not a fight I follow. It just is what it is, and that's why I didn't answer it one moment for the next. I got too much on my own plate, and I am looking to get my own fight. But yeah, I don't follow those guys, either of them. That's the answer for that one. Baking soda. This little trick it's old school ghetto wisdom. When I say ghetto wisdom, it's the kind of stuff you're only going to learn from your grandma, and it's spread around the block, and that's how we know what we know. You're not going to find this stuff on, you're just not going to find nobody talking about it. But when I was a kid, my grandmother would take baking soda, mix it with some lard, and then put it on my stomach when I was a little kid, and then all this gas would come up. So when you're a little kid, a baby, even old people just in general, they have a problem with gas, right? Especially little ones. And that gas causes a whole lot of chest pain. If you know what gas feels like, it gets trapped and you can't get it out. It's in your back. It's on your side. And until it comes out, it causes a lot of pressure and a lot of pain. So what my grandma would do to get that gas out is with the fat, what she used lard, with the baking soda, because the baking soda causes the gas to push out. She put that on, and I'd be better. I'd burp, and I'd be better. And you're like, we didn't have the internet back in when I was a kid in the 80s. We didn't have information to get, to get from somebody unless you knew something, or you knew somebody who knew something, or you read an encyclopedia or some shit like that, right? And I'm going to explain why this works so that you can look it up and see the science of why it works. And that's why it's ghetto wisdom, meaning our grandparents already knew this shit before it was studied and researched to be unbelievable. But now we can look up the science of what our great-grandparents used to do, right? Because my great-grandma used to do this. Fat is a liposome. So if you ever see the word liposome, it just means delivery through fat. And delivery through fat is because fat and alcohol are the only two substances that go directly, boom, right into the cell, straight like right into the cell, taken up through the system, right into the cell. Everything else gotta go in through the stomach, go through the intestines. It's a process, right? It's a long process, and it gotta go through a lot of barriers before it gets delivered to its correct location. One second, my poor little nose. Vitamin C also will make everything come out of every hole you got in your body. And when I say come out, I'm just talking about everything starts leaking out. If you have any buildup of wax, that starts leaking out. Anything that's not supposed to be in the body starts coming out because the body's refreshing, renewing, and redoing. Oh my gosh. And I'm drinking vitamin C. I did the peroxide last night, and I drink vitamin C every day. All right. Meaning I'm doing a whole lot of, I don't want to say leaking because that don't sound right. But you know what I'm saying. My body's refreshing. That sounds much better. My body's refreshing. Um, the liposome, the fat. So my grandma took the fat with the baking soda. Baking soda causes, like they do school experiments where you're able to see the abruption, right? Of when they add the baking soda. I think they also use it with vinegar and you see all this gas. It's because it's creating chemistry. So the chemistry of the baking soda in a liposome, the fat that it gets mixed with, goes right into the cell once it goes on top of the area. Because you got to put it on the area of where the problem is. I'm not going to put the fat with the baking soda on my arm if my stomach is the one with the problem. You put it on the area where the pain, the person is saying they have the pain, and whoop, the gas pushes out because the fat delivered the information of the baking soda into the problem area, and chemistry happens, and problem solved. I hope to write all these things down, meaning what to have all these things nice and organized so that you can see all these little mini, very life-saving remedies. If you've ever suffered from gas, that shit can cause you pain where you can barely move because it's stuck in your back or stuck in your chest. So that's a really good one. Vinegar. I can't tell you how many things there are about vinegar because there's 1,000. So I don't have the time to tell you, but this is a pH regulator for the internal body. So it's a natural deodorant. This natural deodorant will clean you up from the inside out, meaning that foot fungus people have, and they're always trying to fix it from the outside. Well, they got to fix it from the inside. They got to fix it also from the inside. I'm going to show you a drink that you make. It's really refreshing, really delicious. Oh my God, kids love it, right? And they want more of it. Your body will start craving it because it lifts up your energy, right? But it's a natural deodorant. It cleans up and regulates the pH. When your pH is regulated, means shit just got balanced out because bad shit just got moved out. That's what regulating pH. Could be like, why do I care about regulating pH? It's because bad shit is in the system that's making your shit stink. Meaning our sweat is stinking, our feet got fungus, our breath stinks no matter how many times we fucking brush our teeth because our pH is fucking wrong, right? Our saliva is fucking stinky, and so we gotta regulate that shit, meaning balance out the pH so the stink shit gets out. That's the bad stuff. That's the best way I can explain it, so what I'm talking about fucking makes sense. People are always talking about things with terminologies that don't make no, like, and what do I do with that? I don't know what that fucking word means. I hear you repeat it 100 fucking times, but tell me how's that shit gonna work for me? So this is why I use the terms that I use, so that when we move the stinky shit out, it's balancing our pH. It makes more sense. So people would have said that shit a long time ago. It's like, oh, let me make some of that shit right now so that all my shit smells good. And when I'm talking about it regulates your pHs in your urine, so you can see the pee. You're going to notice that your pee smells fresher. Your sweat doesn't stink unless you eat garlic. If you eat garlic, that garlic's coming out, period. That's just what it is. Garlic, that's how strong garlic is, right? So this doesn't fix garlic. But the rest, yes. Really, I haven't used deodorant in over 20 years for that reason, because I regulate my pH from the inside out. It makes your private areas smell and taste right. before I read that, let me finish up. Regulates your blood, your urine, your stomach acids. When we got that problem with that acid reflux, it's because our esophagus is opening up and the acids are coming up because it's out of balance. So it helps to regulate the pH in the stomach. People who are drinking water, this just reminded me to tell you guys. People who are drinking water that's high pH, that's the worst fucking thing ever made, ever invented. Now, do we want regulated pH? Yes. But the stomach pH is less than 2. And we're trying to take it up to 9. Meaning we need so much acid in the stomach of all the places in the body. The stomach is the most acidic because we got to break down all that food we go in. It needs to get liquefied. And if the stomach can't liquefy the food that's going in, our system's getting fucked up. And if the system's fucked up, nutrition's fucked up. Nutrition don't work right, brain don't work right. Brain don't work right, information don't work right. Our fucking body don't work right. Our thinking don't work right. Our development don't work right. Because everything is being sent out on signals. So we got to send in the right signal, drop the high pH water, go to a 7 water, just normal water. Just normal is 7, right? 7's in the middle of the pH range. Vinegar is a pH of 7, so you're not going to have a problem with it taking you out of balance, so it gets everything regulated correctly. I didn't talk about the private areas where I got stopped on, but those private areas, they need to smell and taste right. Like if you ain't smelling and tasting your own private property, don't be giving out your private property to anybody else if you don't fucking like it. Because it's not supposed to smell fishy. It's not supposed to taste bad. And if you ain't tasting yourself, how you gonna know what you're offering, right? And it's not you go offering it to everybody. But whoever you do offer it to, you need to know what you taste like. And so I'm going to show you how to make something that helps regulate that, making sure all your fluids taste good and smell good. Where we at? Murad, are you interested in both boxing and food? You must have colorful personality. What do you do if you don't mind? So, at the end you said, sir, I'm definitely not a man. I'm 100% female. Some people think I'm a man, but I'm not a man. I've had 3 babies. What do you take to build muscle? I had talked about it before, and it's just nutrients. Amino acids build muscle, but if your body doesn't have enough potassium, if you're not building muscle, no matter how much protein you're taking or amino acids, it's because the body doesn't have enough potassium. So you want to look at building up your potassium, which amaranth is a perfect balance of potassium to then start developing muscle. I have studies on this, and you can look up studies on how amaranth, the flour I talk about, how I show you how to make the angelic bread in one of my videos, it has enough potassium to start stimulating muscle growth. And because people who don't develop muscle don't have enough potassium, no matter how much protein they put in their body, it just go right through them. Their body won't suck it up because signals are not being popped off. Our whole body operation mechanics is electrical signals, doors opening and closing, signals going in and out, and we get it through nutrients. We're being deprived of those nutrients, and so signals are not working. So even though we do take things like protein, people who are trying to get muscle are not getting it, well, they're missing an element, and that's potassium. So Murad, are you interested in both boxing and food? So I love food and I love fighting. I do. And when I say fighting, is the art and the skill of combat. I love it. The mentality, the quickness, the it's an art form. That's the best way I can say it, right? Fighting is an art form, and I like the toe-to-toe, the one-on-one, the stand-up of boxing. I do. And yes, I have a passion for food, and I've had to get supplements into my food, meaning the food has to also be my supplement. So if I'm having a nice beverage, it has to be doing something for me. It has to be building something, fixing something, repairing something. It can't be breaking me down dropping my guard and fucking my genetics up. No, because that's what we got in the food system right now, is breaking us up and breaking us down. The more time I have not working, driving a bus or a job, the more time I'm going to have to be able to build something to share with you guys so that you can follow these things. Because there's a lot of things that I do and I don't have enough time to organize it and give it to you guys. I do. I'm not trying to keep things from you guys. It's just a whole nother job putting it online for you guys. And it's a job I can't do by myself. Have you tried Tony testosterone formula? No, I haven't. I'm not trying to build testosterone. I actually enjoy being a female. I don't want to build that aspect. A lot of females that are in fighting or weightlifting, things like that, in competitions, they do the testosterone thing, and I like being female. I don't want to switch to being a man. You know, the big fucking shoulders I got, it's not enough, and that's just natural, meaning I don't take something to make me manly. Can you imagine? And I don't even lift weights. When I do have to lift weights, meaning it's part of my job, or I do go hit the gym for a month, my shit just gets ripped. It really does. And that's without testosterone. So, no, I don't want to try it. Hopefully people have heard from Tony. Let me know if anybody's heard from Tony. I haven't been able to get a hold of him. Oh my gosh, I only got 5 minutes left. I haven't told you guys about the dry toilet. Very important. So I told you guys about the vinegar, the sea salt, the baking soda, the peroxide. Have a lot of that stuff on hand. Stick it in a 5-gallon bucket. Put a tight lid on it. Shit happens, a disaster. Even if that bucket's floating around, you still have your stuff nice and dry. And very important things to utilize to keep the body clean from virus and bacteria and things building up and making us sick. Wood ash, any wood burnt, keep the ash. Showed you how to make a cleaning solution, a cleaning formula that'll keep all your things around you clean. So you're not eating off of filth, or you don't have to worry about filth building up around you. You got to keep your area clean no matter how fucked up it is around you. You know, one thing about Mexicans in Mexico, we may be poor, but we're fucking clean. We clean our dirt floors. Could you go to people's homes and they literally got a dirt floor? That shit is nice and tapered. Outside, it's nice and damp. They have a certain time where they water it to make sure that the dust don't blow into their house, even if their house has a dirt floor. Meaning, shit might be fucked up, but ain't gonna stay fucked up because I ain't gonna let it be. You know, they keep things nice and orderly and organized. It's something to be respected and admired. It really is. And so even though things are hard, you can keep them organized and tidy around you. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, so you can look this up, is very important and it does work. It's called humanure, and you use a dry toilet, meaning there's no water in the system to use the toilet. Everybody has to go to the bathroom, no matter hurricane, no hurricane. But if we're caught in a disaster and there's no toilet system, we need to know what the fuck to do. So you get a 5-gallon bucket. This is some real shit, okay? That's funny. I just said shit. This is about shit, and it's some real shit. Give me one moment. My poor little nose. These are the things you have to have. You have to have for a dry toilet. One is a bucket to use the restroom in. Second, you have to have a whole container, which is like another bucket of dry debris. It could be sawdust. It can be, what else do they call it? Sawwood, you know, the leftover shavings. So it could be dust or the chips of the wood. You can have, if you don't have that access, you can use dirt with leaves or dry leaves. Very important. Dry leaves or dry grass or hay or anything that's dry, right? Because what ends up happening is when you put the dirt on top and then you put the it's natural dry fibers that's going to help take the waste and turn it into earth a year later. But it can't have no water. Obviously, we urinate in it, but we're not adding water to it. Adding water to waste is the worst waste system imaginable. It really is. We have the ingenuity and the mind to know how to create better systems, but for the Canaanite system we live in, we are dependent upon this system. And so what I'm showing is you can still use the restroom, still keep things sanitary. You put a toilet seat top on top of your plastic bucket. And this is a quick way. I had a whole box made where I had the sawdust with a scoop on the side. You lift the lid. In the center is where you sat down on a toilet seat. You couldn't even see the bucket, right? But when you lift the lid, you get the bucket. You put the top on it. You put the last bit of sawdust on top. You put a lid on it. That thing goes out for a year, and it stays for a year. And when you come back in a year, that thing reduces for less than half, and it becomes earth. You don't open it for a year. Again, I not only read and learned about these things, I did these things, and I saw it, and I touched it, and I smelled it, and it smells like fresh earth. It's unreal, but true. One more. And so when it comes to not knowing where to go to the bathroom, that's a system that needs to be created. You need to go collect as much dirt and dry debris, like dry grass, dry leaves, dry sawdust, dry wood, just anything that's old and dry and can decompose, and you cover. And so when you have your bucket, first, I'm going to tell you how I did it in Mexico. You have the sawdust on the bottom. First layer is sawdust. You use the bathroom. You finish using the bathroom. You put more sawdust on top. It covers, and you can't even see it or smell it. So it doesn't have a smell because it's completely covered, like what cats do, right? When cats and dogs, they cover their stuff, they're covering it because they're covering the smell. And it works. It works in nature, and it works for us too. So when you go to the bathroom again, there's no smell coming up, and you can't see any waste. You go to the bathroom, again, you finish, and you put your layer of sawdust on top. Again, nothing is there for when you come back for the next time. All of these buckets I put into a 250 gallon bucket drum with a metal top that I sealed for a year. And so that is a very long way to do it. But if you want to see that it works, try it just in a 5 gallon bucket, cover it, put it away for a year, come back in a year, and you'll see how it reduces. You get a stick because you're afraid, right? You're afraid because you know what shit was in there. It was real shit, right? But then you come to find out, oh my gosh, you got a glove on, you're touching this stuff, you're smelling it. It's earth. It smells like fresh earth. Unreal. But this is how we navigate through hard situations and circumstances with some basic stuff that we wouldn't know we need, like sawdust, dry grass, dry leaves, wood ash, sea salt, baking soda, peroxide, and vinegar. These things are vital for survival to keep us clean and keep our area clean under stressful times. Again, you guys, this is an hour. It's Monday. Perfect on the hour. This is Michelle Angelic. Really hoping that this information helped everybody. You don't know that you need this until you need it. Don't need it. Don't wait till you need it to then be like, what'd she say? Know this stuff is real. Know this. When I say this stuff is real, this stuff works. And these situations that are popping on people, like the hurricane coming up on these people on Thursday, they got to hold down, bunker down, and figure out what they're going to do after they make it, right? Because their situations and circumstances are going to be devastating. And I wish that on no one. But to stay alive, we have to be able to keep our surroundings clean and our bodies clean and healthy. And this is my way to show you guys. And I really hope it helps. And God bless us all. Really, God bless us all for what we're facing and what we're going through. This is Michelle Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior. I want to say good night and peace out. When do I do my lives again? I do my lives every Monday, 7 p.m. That's where I'm at right now, every Monday at 7 p.m. Stay well and God bless everyone.